I've got several episodes of experience that makes me an expert.
And details were released this week regarding the upcoming digital-only E3 event that'll be taking place this summer, including a list of official attendees. A couple of big names are on there. They'll be holding showcases, which is awesome. And it appears that at least one big name will not be participating in the all-digital E3 this year. The Electronic Software Association, who runs E3, has confirmed that Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, and Warner Brothers Games are all confirmed to be appearing, at least in some form, during E3 2021, which will take place from June 12th until June 15th. Now, obviously, the biggest name not on that list is Sony. Now, PlayStation had stated last year that they weren't intending to be part of E3 2020 before it got shut down. So this might not surprise anyone. They're clearly sticking to their plan. The ESA has also said that the list of attendees they just released is their, quote, early commitments, end quote. So there could still be more additions to the list before the event actually takes place this summer. IGN pointed out that EA, Square Enix, Sega, and Activision are all not scheduled to be part of E3 2021 as of right now either, that's interesting. The powers that be have also confirmed that the event will be free for everyone to stream because rumors had begun circulating that certain presentations, certain aspects of E3 were going to be locked behind a paywall this year. They have said that is not the case. Everything will just be there for you to watch at your leisure. Mike Maloney wrote into us on Patreon and said Sony will probably have their own special presentation after all this is done and try to blow us away with some Final Fantasy add-on or Ratchet is missing an educational game or something like that. Mike, no. Never put Ratchet and Clank through the educational game thing. Never, you know what, frankly, never put any franchise through the educational game ringer. Even educational game franchises should not be making educational games. All right, and I'll die on that hill. They're not fun. They suck. Fuck you. Yeah, you're not wrong, though, Mike. I'm sure Sony's going to host their own event at some point this summer. I'm not complaining. Frankly, I gotta be honest, I'm a little surprised that the other big companies are going to be working with E3 this year. It's one thing when E3 is an in-person event and you're packing nerds into a theater to watch the big reveals and all that kind of stuff. That's different. But when it's all digital, why can't you just do a presentation without E3? What's stopping a Sony from running a state of play presentation at the exact same time that Nintendo or someone is presenting on the E3 stream? And obviously they're not going to do that because you're just splitting your audience, hurts everybody. If gamers can only watch one or the other, makes you look like a piece of shit. But the point I'm trying to make is if it's just a digital presentation, if it's literally you're just playing a video at the end of the day, then why do you need E3? I honestly don't know the answer to that. Is E3 offering a kickback to companies that will still present on their shows? Is it like a loyalty thing? Like Nintendo and Xbox and all the companies that will be at E3, are they just agreeing to be there to help E3 survive the pandemic and the lockdown? I think maybe you could argue that you'll get more eyes on your showcase being part of a 4-day kind of E3 blowout as opposed to just releasing your own video on your own YouTube channel or whatever. But I don't even know if that's really true because non-hardcore gamers probably aren't going to watch E3. If you're hardcore enough into gaming to watch E3, then you're probably hardcore enough to watch a presentation by PlayStation that has nothing to do with E3. And otherwise, you're probably not. If you're not going to watch E3, then you probably weren't going to just track down a Sony state of play and fucking watch that either. So I don't even know how many more eyeballs you're going to get. I guess I will say I'm sure there are some people who will remember this weekend is E3 and they'll be looking for these video presentations. So I suppose you could argue that maybe you'll get a few more eyes that way, but it's not going to move the needle enough to really matter. So I just don't understand why companies would work with them. And I'm excited. As someone that's never attended an E3 in person, I watch it all online anyway. So from a purely a personal point of view, nothing's really changing. This is the same. I just get a few days of a bunch of video game presentations that I'm going to watch like I would anyway. But for those in the gaming business, I'm really shocked that as many companies that have committed to E3 already are there. I just don't understand why you would not just do it on your own. I mean, maybe the optics play a role in it too. You know, like I don't really give a shit if Sony's there. I'm gonna watch their show if they do their own show, whether it's under the EA umbrella or not. I don't give a fuck. You know, but between the fact that like Sony fought crossplay forever and this MLB The Show thing, which we're gonna get into in a minute, and the optics of, you know, quote, not being a team player and being part of E3 like everybody else is, right? Does it paint them in a negative light? Does it come across as they're not, you know, not playing well with others? And Andre wrote into us on Patreon saying that exact thing. He said, I've always enjoyed E3 in the past. I look forward to vegging out on my couch and watching the endless parade from all these great companies. I just wish Sony would pull the giant stick out of their ass and learn how to play ball. I swear whoever runs Sony was a homeschool child who never learned to play well with others. Yeah, like, and I honestly wondered if they're going to get painted with that brush. And I don't know, like, it's not going to hurt them. People are going to buy, if you want a PS5, you're going to buy you're not going to not buy a PS5 because Sony didn't go to E3. But I don't think it makes them look good, right? I'm sure Andre's not the only one that feels that way. I kind of feel that way. I'm like, why? Like, this is the business. Like, the E3 is part of gaming, and gaming is what your business is all about. Why do you not want to be part of that, you know? But at the same time, I kind of respect them for being like, we don't need you. Fuck you. We'll do it on our own. So time will tell. You know, I'm sure we're going to get a standalone Sony presentation around E3, a state of play, or we don't. And if we don't get a presentation from them, that's not good, because now they look like Duff and they're just telling Homer they have nothing up their sleeve. And now nobody's happy. So hopefully we get a state of play this year, and they decided they didn't have to do it with E3, which I hope details come out, because I want to know why a company like a Nintendo or an Xbox is like, yeah, we'll fucking do our presentation under E3, when they could just be like, no, well, we're good. Nintendo drops random directs on us, and Xbox has got infinite money. They could take care of themselves. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, consider checking out the podcast. I break down the biggest news in the world of video games, sprinkle a little profanity on top, and basically just kill an hour or so of your week. New episodes go live every Monday. Look for Game Patch wherever you get your podcasts, or listen at rememberthegamepodcast.com.